Hey, how's it going, guys? This is Alex Nieto here. I'm out of Dallas, Texas, and I just wanted to shoot this video. I was listening to a book. Just wanted to give you some value, a review over Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life by Wayne Dyer. And basically, in this book, I actually wasn't listening, reading the actual book, but I listened to the audio, and there was these about three takeaways that I had from the section that I actually listened to, and I encourage you to listen to it or even just pick up the book as well. It's a great information that's in there, and I guess to kind of really start off with Wayne Dyer, I always I've liked the guy. The guy's cool. He's very insightful, very wise. But there's always been something about him with certain aspects of him that I just never really, I guess, resonated with, because it felt like it was just, he always talked about allowing and just letting things go and this and that, and it always seemed like you don't have any goals, you just be lazy and just, oh, everything will work itself out. And I understand that to an extent, but it just, I don't know, just always to me, it just felt like it was just like a kind of telling people to be lazy and not, you know, direct their life or just have a focus on where they want to go in life. And so my one of my first takeaways from this was this thing about non-interfering and this concept about non-interference or just interfering with 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 life or just things that are going on in your life. And I really don't kind of still don't understand the full depth of what it means, but what really resonated with me and what I got epiphany, some more insight on it, was that what really got me to understand that it's not just like la 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 my life and just everything's gonna work itself out type thing, and not set any goals, not do anything, not whatever. And basically what he talked about was, or basically what I got from it was that we make a lot of decisions. Sometimes we make decisions about life or just about where we want to go in our businesses or whatever the case may be. And a lot of us, we have these decisions that come, that we feel in our heart that we should make. Something tells us and resonates with us. Okay, you should be making this decision, you should be doing this, you should be going this in direction. And what I got from this section was that for non-interference was that once we get that inkling, that epiphany or that hunch or insight of what decision we should make based off of what our heart is telling us to do, that after that decision is made to go with that, or even if you didn't even make the decision, that to listen to it, because a lot of times we don't listen to what our heart is trying to tell us, and we end up worse off than where we were to start off with. And so what I got from it was that you just need to not interfere after making that decision or just after hearing what the heart is trying to tell you. And a lot of times, we'll make a decision and we'll feel that it's right, but then fear starts coming, and we start seeing situations or circumstances popping up in our life, in our business, or some things, commotion, crisis, and things like that, and we start teeter-tottering on that decision that we initially was going to make. And that right there is what I got from it, was that's the non-interference part. Don't interfere after you make that decision, because after you make that decision, everything's going to work itself out, because you've made that decision, and that's where your heart is trying to tell you and guide you to where you need to go. So that was my first takeaway from this, and that was a big insight for me and aha moment, because not interfering after you follow your heart, no matter what's showing up in your life at the moment, and just practicing that non-interference and just going with it. And this kind of leads me into the next thing, going with it being like water. And that famous quote, I love Bruce Lee. I'm a big martial arts fan. I've practiced kung fu for many several years back in when I was in high school and beginning of college. And I'm a kung fu addict. I have kung fu flicks all over the place. And Bruce Lee, one of his favorite quotes is that he always talks about be like water. Empty your mind empty your cup, and be formless, shapeless like water. You go into a pot, the water becomes a pot. You put it in a cup, put it in a bottle, it becomes the bottle. And he said that it can crash, or it can move. So that quote right there, I always was trying to figure out what it really meant. I understood it to an extent, but what Wayne explained it in here was that we are very rigid a lot, and everything in nature is not rigid. Everything in nature is soft, but when it becomes rigid, that means it's about to die off, or it's about nature's about to get rid of it. And there's a lot of times in our life that we are very, very rigid in our decisions, or very rigid about the things we want to do, or we're pushing ourselves, in our businesses or in our life, and we got a decision, and we're trying to push it and force it, and trying to figure out this, and have a plan B, C, D, E, F, G, Z, and we're trying to control the situation so much that everything just comes in chaos, because it's so rigid, and we're not flowing like water. And so what he explained was that if you ever tried to grasp water, like really to go into the sink, fill it up with some water, try to grab the water. If you ever tried to grasp it and just put it in your hand and grasp it and try to hold on to it real tight, the faster you do it, the less water you have there. It just goes as quickly as you're trying to grasp it. So this explanation of be like water, be formless, be adaptive, be flexible, be soft, which in Kung Fu, that's one of the main things that they always teach you, is you can't be stiff, or you have to be soft to know where your opponent, in the art called Qigong, that you move, and you can sense where the movement is coming from, so you can be able to attack and be adaptive and flexible in that. And just all form of Kung Fu is about being flexible and adapting. And so with this water analogy, was that he was saying, how do you experience water? The only way to experience water is you have to go back to how nature is. You have to be soft. And so you just go into the water with your hand, go softly, slowly, and flexible, and you can pick up water. And this took it to another level. When I thought about that, I was like, when we make our decisions, don't be so rigid. Don't be so trying to forceful with the decision that you're making in your business. Stop trying to get things going, and I need to get this, I need this, I need this, I need this. And whatever, things aren't working as fast as I want them to go. In my life, I'm trying to get here, I'm trying to get there, and you're being so rigid and so stiff. So calm yourself down. Think about being like water. Be flexible. Water can go in any crevice, any cracks, no matter what situation is coming. Think like that. How can I, smoothly get into this situation? It's not the way I want it to be, but let me smoothly go into this and be like water. So this also took me to another thing, that when you when you can get a hold of water and experience it even more, the only way to hold on to water is you have to be soft and be very, very soft. You can't be hard. Your hand can't be stiff like this, and you can't, or the water is going to fall off your hand. But if you soften, you scoop it, you can hold that water there for as long as possible without it even coming out your hand. And that was like just a real big epiphany on what Bruce Lee was talking about too, about being formless and being like water and flowing. And so in your life, think about times when you're being rigid, and take a step back and be formless, soft, flexible, adaptive. Because they say that, it's not the strongest that win, it's not the smartest that win. It's the person that's the most adaptive, the most flexible, that wins in the end. So be formless, flowing like water. And I know this video is getting a little long, but there's a lot of good points. So I just want to give you guys all the value I can in this. And basically, my last point was about fear. He gave this thing about fear, about being, instead of being fearful, worried, or anything like that, or just having those emotions, be curious about your fears. And that right there really opened my mind up, wow. I never thought of it like that. You know, when was the last time that when you was fearful of something, maybe rent or maybe something going on or something happening in your life that chaos or crisis is being sent around, or just feeling like the walls are coming in on you and you're being worried about a situation or fearful, that you actually were like, what does this mean? Being curious and being like a little child, like, let me test this. Let me check out what's going on here. What is this actually telling me? Because in nature, or just period, that nature will irritate things to get it to move onto somewhere else. So when we're having fear or we're being worried about something or chaos is happening in our life, Robert Kiyosaki says that chaos means that change is screaming out to occur. And so you should be curious about your fears, be curious about your worries, be curious about anything that's negative in your life, and just ask those questions about, what does that mean in my life right now? What is God trying to tell me? What is the universe trying to tell me? What's nature trying to tell me right here? Because right now I'm feeling all over the place. There's so much chaos going on. I can't think straight, can't sleep. I'm feeling like I'm forcing myself. All those different things that you go through in your business or in your life, with family or whatever. Ask yourself those questions and just kind of be curious about your fears. Be curious in that aspect. So that was basically, all the points that I wanted to talk about, that from Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life. So this is my review for that book, for that audio, whatever. And I seriously think you and recommend that you should go check it out. It's going to be very, very insightful. And you might have your own little points. So just make a comment below. Let me know what you think about it. And I know the video was pretty long, but hey, it was I just wanted to give you guys the value and let you know what I got from it. So talk to you later, guys. Bye.